Here we go. The great thing about Roblox as a platform is the amount of shit. There's just so many games, so many groups, so many things that you can dive into at a moment's notice. And all it takes from you is a few simple clicks and you're in. That's it. It's really that simple. But that's where the problem begins. For better or for worse, over the course of experiencing the place that you join, you interact with others. And this next bit greatly depends on what communities you associate yourself with, but I firmly believe that a large part of your everyday Roblox user to be a miserable person to socialize with. Forgive me for assuming, but there are certain places that feed and even enable this sort of lackluster behavior. Games such as hardcore roguelikes, anime fighting games, role-playing games, and likely even more that I can't name right now, and thanks to those games and their popularity, the players of these games, who, as stated before, are mostly heartless, hyper-competitive gremlins, end up in every corner of the platform. And unfortunately for me, that includes within my own favorite games and communities. And the really fucked up part about all of this, though, is that not every game has to be focused on competition to house genuinely malicious and evil people within their communities. This little hidden gem based on the Assassin's Creed franchise that I've played off and on for a few years shy of a full decade is no exception. There was this one time where this dude's girlfriend was free ranked by not only himself but the owner of the game and just suddenly had admin permissions within the community. So she went on a tirade and banned a handful of faction members without any kind of valid reasoning. And then she proceeded to go on a schizophrenic rant trying to justify her actions only to have them overturned within the same 24 hours. There was this one guy who, after having been outed as a pred, was invited back to the community by two big developers who thought that giving this freakazoid power again would be funny. It was pretty hilarious because he immediately went on to cause multiple incidents within the community, just overall being the same tyrannical piece of shit he had always been. A my way or the highway kind of leader who claimed to be open-minded just as openly as he was closed-minded. He organized an event involving every single member of the community, and when they all showed up, he never came through. We all just stood there for the better part of 2 hours, waiting for his dumbass to keep his word and show up. And as soon as the developers had finally had enough of his shit, they told him he was being removed. But by then, the damages were already done. He had already made an ass out of himself twice in the same community, and instead of supposedly honorably retiring this time, he went out with a bang and tried to permaban as many people as possible before he was permanently banned himself. All of this because the community overall was very hostile towards him. Understandably so, but the developers who invited him in the first place continuously fucked with him in various ways, and just, in general, he was not welcomed. And, why even fucking invite him back in the first place? The devs used to fuck with him in plenty of ways. Like, I remember vividly, the devs forced him to use this shitty walk and sprint cycle animation set in the form of a dog. It was a jab at his name having included Bestia Lupus at the end of it, which he took personally, and ultimately I believe he left all the groups himself, allegedly, before having been banned. And beyond those two noteworthy and somewhat recent incidents in the grand scheme of things, I have my own encounters with shitty circumstances by the hands of people who are incapable of separating the game from interpersonal affairs. I myself am no shining standard. I've taken game-related things personally all the fucking time, even outside of Citramaria. In retrospect, I'm sure that everything shown here could have been avoided had I simply chosen not to care as badly as I did, but hindsight is 20/20 though, and obviously I can't go back and change what happened, and nor do I want to. My point in even making this first part of the video specifically is to show you all how far things can go when people choose to be the worst possible versions of themselves over the internet. If we let nepotism, hyper-competitiveness, toxicity, and blatant neglect for the community go unchecked and reign supreme again, history will repeat itself. So we must be better. We must choose the hard choices and be the better people than we were all those years ago, or in some cases, still are in the present day. And it won't be easy. We'll still have bad apples who try their hardest to fuck with the status quo. But the best thing we can give them is silence. Don't bite other people's bait. Don't feed that cycle of hatred. Over enough time, they'll grow bored of it and leave, change for the better, or be so egregiously bad that we have no choice but to get rid of them. And it all starts with the simple choice to grow and change as a person, to be better.